Rooftop tents, let's talk about it. You've got hard shell, you've got soft shell. You've got ones that fold out, you've got ones that pop out. You've got ones that fold and pop out. You've got ones made of canvas and you've got ones made of steel frames. Woo, so many.
So in this episode, we're gonna do a full walkthrough of our soft shell rooftop tent. Then we're gonna bugger off, we're gonna swap it over and get the new hard shell rooftop tent that we're gonna throw on, and we'll reveal to you what brand that is. And the things that we're gonna talk about in this episode include, for both rooftop tents, the pricing of a soft and a hard shell, setup and pack up time, bedding and interior and 12-volt system, weight and materials, add-on accessories, and the most important thing, can both rooftop tents actually fit on your vehicle? So as always, let's crack into it.
Woo!
So obviously the first thing that we're going to speak about is pricing itself of these soft shell rooftop tents. They range between $700 and $800 all the way up to $2,500, and that's obviously from the low quality to the high quality. And that one that we got right behind us, as you can see here, that is about $1,800, and that was about 3 years ago, I think that was when we bought that one. And it's the ARB Simpson 3 rooftop tent that you would have seen in our walkthrough video, just like this one here.
So why do people go to rooftop tents when they used to have a swag or a tent? The reasoning being is it's quick and easy to set up and pack up. They also save up so much space in your car because you're not lugging around all the bedding and it's all moved up to the roof.
That's right. So some rooftop tents, in saying that, you actually can't keep the bedding in there, which to me is absolutely silly because you're carrying so much weight on the roof and then you're having to pack in your doonies and pillows in your car.
So from our personal experience, this is how long it takes to set up and pack up our soft shell rooftop tent. We've got two different types of setups when we get to a campsite. We've got a quick one and a full one. A quick one would take about 1 minute, and what that entails is pulling over, unzipping the rooftop tent, folding it over, and then all we have to do is stretch out the structure and lock it in and make sure all your zippers are done up, because usually for our quick setups, it's raining.
That's right. And that usually takes about a minute to a minute and a half. And obviously sometimes we just want to get to campsite. We get there late at night and we want to just unpack, and we don't need the full thing because we know it's not going to rain, or it rains because we think that it's not going to rain. So the next one that we're going to move on to is our full and entire unpack, which takes obviously about 5 or 6 minutes, and it's a bit of a lengthy process. So as you can see here, we've unzipped it, and we've done that quick unpack as Maddy just explained, but then we're adding on the poles all the way around to let out the extra bits of canvas that help with both flow of air to cool out the tent, but also give us a little bit more shelter in that rain. This takes a little bit more time because obviously we're having to get into awkward positions all over the car, but as well on the inside of the tent, we're setting up all of our 12-volt system that does not come with the rooftop tent. So we've had to put in our own 12-volt system, just our light and a couple of USB plugs and stuff like that. But that's about it. So we've got those two, we've got the quick, and then we've got the full one as well. But let's talk about the pack up. This is the main reason that we're moving rooftop tents. So let's quickly talk about for the soft shell.
So the biggest downfall of the soft shell rooftop tents is the pack up time. It takes Samuel and I about 10 minutes to pack it all up.
So as we know, soft shell rooftop tents are mostly made up of canvas. I would say 90% is made up of canvas. So when you go to close it, there's a lot of canvas that pushes out all to the sides and to the front, which sort of means that Maddy and I are both having to work together to push that all in. And then obviously over time that's gotten worse because it's expanded with the wind and the canvas naturally expanding. But as well, it sort of sucks in that wet weather sort of situations as well with all the rain, and you can't get all the water out as you're sort of packing it up. And then moving on from there, when we put the cover over the top, one of us is having to hold it down to push it and to get that zip all the way around.
And because the canvas has expanded so much, there's all that extra pressure when we're zipping it up. And hence now the zip is starting to break while we zip it up. So it's a massive argument with the tent trying to zip it up.
We've never argued while doing the rooftop tent, I swear.
So I'm gonna go up now and we're gonna check out the bedding and the material in the rooftop tent on the canvas ones. So the soft shell rooftop tents are far more superior. The interior is wider and it's higher, which is perfect for if you need to get changed or just want to spend some time chilling in the tent. It also has 360-degree windows and some doors in the front and back. It also has a fantastic mattress where you can actually provide extra toppers and extra layers to your mattress to provide optimum comfort. So we're going to come in and I'm going to show you a bit more of the interior. So I'm going to quickly go over the specific specifications of this rooftop tent for the interior and for the mattress. It comes with a 2.5-inch high-density bonded chip foam mattress, which is 2.35 meters by 1.35 meters, which means there's plenty of spacious room to sleep. It also comes with 4 interior pockets and 2 external pockets to fit your shoes in. Sadly, it does not come with a 12-volt system, so you cannot have those interior lights. Here's a couple of things that this tent has allowed us to do. We've been able to add in our own 12-volt system to be able to run in our own interior light, and we've also been able to add in our own 60mm mattress, eggshell protector, sheets, and doona cover.
Yeah, so one of the really good things about being able to do all that is because we can keep it all in here, we actually have so much comfort in going to bed at night. Like, it's almost better than sleeping in our own bed at home. So because we've got so much thickness there, and we can keep all of our pillows other than my memory foam pillow, because that's just like my special thing, it's really comfortable to go away with, sorry. Despite the packing up scenario, which is a bit crap, this is definitely what makes these soft shell tents worth it.
I think it's time for a little nap.
So let's talk about how you can fit these soft shell rooftop tents onto your four-wheel drive. The really good thing about these rooftop tents is you can either fit them either A, onto the cabin of your vehicle, or B, onto the tub without it overlapping, which gives you a second amount of room on the roof of your four-wheel drive. So for us, we've got ours mounted on the cabin of our four-wheel drive, which then allows us to put a 250-watt solar panel on the rear. And obviously, as we just showed you, because of the way that it packs and unpacks in that 180-degree motion and out the sides of the vehicle, it allows you to have that extra space. Another plus side about these rooftop tents is the weight of them. So they usually sit around that 65 to 70 kilo mark. So this one here is 67 kilos, which then allows you, obviously because of the weight ratios that you can have on your vehicle. All vehicles are different. Ours has a 100 kilo limit on the top, and that's rated at a driving, and I think it sits around the 70 to 75 kilo mark off-road rating. So we'll quickly show you how we've got ours mounted on our roof, because we had a couple of dramas what the typical style of how they're mounted. So if we quickly come over here, as you can see here, they used to be pot riveted into the trackie. You don't want to get those ones that clamp around the vehicle because they don't have enough weight rating for a rooftop tent and they just come loose. So we've actually taken the pot rivets out because they popped out when they were put into the tracks, and we worked with ARB to get that sorted and actually screwed it in and fully mounted it into the vehicle itself. And then as you can see around the sides here, we've got the the Rhino Rack quick release mounts. I would not recommend those. If you're getting a rooftop tent and you're going to mount it onto your car, don't get the quick release because there's too much movement, there's too many moving parts, and obviously over time things wiggle and move around and they don't sit in place as well, which makes it quite noisy when you're going off-road and sort of the car's flexing all about. So just a little hot tip in there, make sure that you screw them into the tracks themselves, don't get them pot riveted, and just get steady mounts, just full mounts. Don't try and get any of these quick release mounts or any other fancy mounts, because as soon as you go away with them, there is room for error, and we have had those problems, and that's how we rectified them. So the final thing that I'll just quickly add in there is the most obvious thing when it comes to these, like it's a box style basically that you have on your roof. Because we've got ours on the cabin and it sits quite high and it doesn't sit flush on the tub, just like some other people might have on their four-wheel drives. Aerodynamics. Because of the folding style, as I said before, it creates a lot higher profile as opposed to the hardshell rooftop tents that sit quite slimline. So that gives us about probably an extra 1.5 to 2 litres of fuel consumption, which sort of sucks because that also brings in a bit of wind noise as well because of there's so much resistance as we're travelling down highways and stuff like that. You don't really notice it off-road, but anything above 80 kilometres an hour, you could feel the resistance, and you can also have a bit more wind noise as a result of that.
Now we'll quickly touch on the quality of the materials of the canvas and the fly sheet. The main base material out of this soft shell rooftop tent is a polycotton ripstop canvas, which also is quite waterproof with a GSM of 300, which makes it great when you go to the Northern Territory in the wet season, and it protects you against heavy rainfall, like when we go to the Vic High Country as well. It also has a great UV protection, which helps my little fair skin against the UV rays. On top as well is a fantastic waterproof Oxford polyester fly sheet, which has a water shedding ability of 1,000 millimeters of water head, which does actually protect you against a lot of that heavy rainfall from coming into your tent. Now, it also contains fine insect screen windows and doors, protecting you against the smallest insects. So once you're living in Australia, you know it protects you against midges and mosquitoes. So some of the pros with this type of tent is with the canvas. Now the canvas actually holds heat quite well. So if you zip up those doors and it's in the middle of winter, you're going to be a lot warmer in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we've been in there in like -5, -6 degrees at night. And as soon as we close all the canvas up on the inside and we have absolutely no venting whatsoever, even though it creates a bit of condensation in there, it's still relatively warm even if we don't use our electric blanket.
And the great thing is as well, you can open it all up, which does make it a cooler environment as well. So you can go the other way.
So obviously now moving on to the cons, all rooftop tents have their cons. So I'll just name a couple of the biggest ones that we have with this one. So obviously we talked about before, we've got this fly sheet over the top of our canvas here. And what happens is a lot of moisture gets caught in between and actually really struggles to vent that out, which creates mold on the outside. And also when we go to pack it up, it's a lot harder to get rid of that moisture. The second thing is also to do with this fly sheet, which I'm starting to notice on the market. A lot of the rooftop tents are starting to get rid of them. It's really bad in the wind because there's not many tie down points. You can literally see it going off here. It also stretches over time, like even over 6 months, it gets a really big stretch factor. So in anything above 15 kilometre-hour winds, or even just when you're on the beach and you get those sort of afternoon winds.
It really struggles, yeah.
Yeah, and it's really annoying to listen to in the rooftop tent. So that's probably one of our biggest reasons as to why we're changing over to the hardshell rooftop tent. And then the next one we'll move on to is, as it's all made out of canvas, there's no actual hard surfaces that's giving full resistance to the weather around it. You're completely relying on the canvas itself. So even though it's of good material and it's got that ripstop material that Mads was sort of talking about, if something does tear, you know, you're sort of buggered unless you know how to stitch really well. So we'll quickly finish off this video with one of the cool little add-ons you can get with these soft shell rooftop tents, and you probably have heard it before, but it's the annexes that you can get to extend out onto where the ladder is.
So one of the positives about the annex is it's great. It creates an extra storage space for you to put your stuff, an extra room when you have a setup of your campsite. It's also great to protect you when that heavy weather comes down with that rainfall, but it also provides a bit of extra protection from bugs like mosquitoes and march flies.
Yeah, and one of the cons is obviously packing up and having to store them. They're actually really big. It's basically holding around like a whole nother tent in the back of your car. It packs up to about a metre in length and probably ½ a metre wide. So that's one of the cons to it. And then obviously the pack down and the pack up time of it, having to put it on there and take it off takes time. So basically I would only ever put that on there if we're staying somewhere for 2, 3, 4 days. And realistically, when we did our big lap of Australia and we did 12 months of it, we used it once. So is it worth it?
It would be worth it if you're going to stay in a campsite for a long time constantly. Otherwise, from our personal experience, we just didn't use it enough.
Absolutely. It's just one of those things that you need to basically tee to how you travel. So finishing off this video, we're going to go pack this up, head off to the store and switch it over to the hardshell rooftop tent, which we have been waiting for like 6 to 12 months now, and I'm actually so excited to get it on there and test it out. So let's go grab it.
Woo!